Revealed, my son's 53M fortune led to incredible betrayal. Days later, he discovered he needed me. Martha had always been the type to get things done. Each day, she juggled 3 jobs and cared for her son, Tyler, anchoring their modest little home with strength and love. They lived in a tight-knit Midwestern town where the values of hard work and family meant everything. A proud veteran, Martha instilled those lessons deeply in Tyler. She taught him to value integrity above all else. Their home, though filled with checks that occasionally bounced, burst at the seams with laughter, warmth, and a sense of security that money couldn't buy. Now in his late 20s, Tyler's dream was slowly piecing together. He finally developed an app that took the tech world by storm. When the news broke that he sold it for a staggering $53 million, it felt as if fireworks had exploded over their quiet town. Martha's heart swelled with pride. But it wasn't long before a feeling of unease crept in. The friends who flocked to Tyler were not the kind you expected to bring around for dinner. They were drawn by his newfound fortune. As days turned to nights, the people who had genuinely cared for him faded, replaced by an association of shallow smiles and opportunistic glances. Martha watched her son transform before her eyes. He had hit the jackpot, but in his wake, he also lost the person she recognized. "Where did my boy go?" she would whisper to herself late at night, torn between buoyant pride and deep-seated dread. Just as quickly as wealth appeared, so did betrayal. In what seemed like the blink of an eye, Tyler's closest confidant embezzled a large chunk of his fortune. The betrayal ripped through Tyler, leaving him shattered, alone, and battling the utter void that wealth had invited into his life. One evening, as rain tapped a steady rhythm against the porch, Tyler found himself standing at the threshold of his childhood home. The familiar weathered wood, the peeling paint, it stirred memories that crashed over him like waves. He remembered nights filled with his mother's laughter, the way she held him when the world felt too heavy. A deep tightness settled in his chest as he realized how deeply he needed her love and guidance once more. He hesitated at the door, grappling with the weight of pride and regret. While Tyler wrestled with his demons on the porch, Martha was inside, conflicted by her own thoughts. Relief washed over her that he had somehow awakened from the superficiality of wealth, yet the hurt of his distance still stung. Could she welcome back the son who had nearly forgotten his humble beginnings when success landed like a thief on their doorstep? The night dragged on, thick with unresolved tension, as the gentle rapping of a knuckle echoed in the quiet. Tyler stood there, heart racing, seeking the embrace he once took for granted. Their reunion was bittersweet. Timidly, they faced each other, both yearning for that connection but burdened by disappointment. Just then, Tyler's phone rang, jolting them from the moment, revealing another layer of deception that had been lurking in the shadows, casting doubt over everything. Tension built, and as they teetered on the brink of healing, a question hung heavy in the air: could they navigate the murky waters of betrayal and rediscover each other, or would the ghosts of the past keep them apart forever? Tyler's heart sank as the phone ring echoed in the stillness, slicing through the fragile moment they had just begun to reclaim. He fumbled to silence it, but 100 thoughts raced through his mind. Who could be calling at this hour? The weight of the betrayal that had just crushed him returned tenfold, squeezing his chest and dimming the warm light of hope flickering between him and Martha. Martha's eyes widened as she took a step back. "Tyler," she whispered, burdened by the familiar worry she felt any time his phone rang lately. "Is it him?" He shook his head, his fingers trembling against the screen. "No, it's not. It's just work. But it keeps buzzing in the back of my mind. The calls, the messages, they're relentless." "But you're home now," Martha pleaded gently, desperate for him to understand that he didn't have to face everything alone anymore. "You don't have to let it consume you, we can take it one step at a time." Tears pooled in Tyler's eyes. "I know, Mom. But, it's hard. I thought money would bring freedom. Instead, it's just brought this, chaos." He turned away, leaning against the doorframe, feeling the cool wood press against his back as he wrestled with his emotions. "You think I never felt chaos, honey? The bills, the jobs, trying to make everything work for us. But you always had me to come home to," she said softly, stepping closer. "Yeah, and I left for success," he muttered, the words tasting bitter on his tongue. I needed to prove myself, but I lost myself instead. Martha stepped closer, her heart aching for him. You're still here, Tyler. It's never too late to find your way back to the person you were. He looked into her eyes, searching for the comfort he had longed for. I miss that more than anything. Just then, he felt his phone vibrate again in his pocket. The urge to check it overpowered almost everything else. He hesitated but finally pulled out the device. The screen lit up, and he blinked at the name flashing back at him. It was the very friend who betrayed him, the one who had stolen his trust and his money. Don't answer it, Martha said instinctively, sensing the storm brewing within him, but Tyler stared at the name as if it were an insurmountable wall he needed to climb. I have to. Maybe it's important. Are you kidding? She exclaimed, a mixture of disbelief and concern etched on her face. You don't owe him anything. Look what he did to you. He felt torn in two. The anger and pain bubbled inside him, but so did something else: curiosity, a desire to reclaim some sense of control. Mom, if he knows something that can help me, shouldn't I at least listen? Martha shook her head, unable to hide her frustration. There's nothing he could say that would change the past. You need to focus on healing, not more betrayal. The rain outside intensified, mirroring the turmoil inside. Tyler's pulse quickened as he pondered the impossible choice. Could he face the truth of what lay beyond those words, an echo of betrayal still so raw? As he raised the phone to his ear, silence filled the room, heavy with the weight of unsaid words and unresolved feelings. But should he press play on this chapter of his life, or turn the page and embrace the possibility of something new? The voice on the other end changed everything, and he felt the ground shift beneath him. Did he truly want to re-engage with that old world, or would this choice bring more pain than he was ready to bear? With the decision hanging precariously in the air, a chilling uncertainty loomed. Could this be the turning point he desperately needed, or would it plunge him back into the depths of despair? Tyler took a deep breath, his thumb hovering over the green button that would reconnect him with a piece of his past he'd rather forget. Uncertainty gripped him, and the voices from the other end began to flood his thoughts: all the laughter, the late-night confessions, the promises they had made while aiming for success together. But that feeling of brotherhood had become a weight holding him down. Martha, he muttered, not taking his eyes off the screen. I just need to know what he wants. Do you really? She challenged, her voice softening as she began to understand his need for closure. What if it's just more lies? He looked up at her, feeling the warmth of her concern envelop him. Maybe, but I have to find out. I have to hear it for myself. With trembling fingers, he hit the green button. Hello. Silence hung for a moment before a hesitant voice broke through. Tyler, it's me. Why are you calling? Tyler interrupted, his anger flaring like a match struck in darkness. Do you want to gloat? Or maybe convince me you didn't screw me over? Please, just listen, the voice pleaded, sounding smaller now. I messed up, I know that. But there's something you need to hear. Something important. Tyler's heart raced, caught between the anger of betrayal and the urgency in his friend's tone. What could you possibly tell me that would make any of this okay? Peter's in trouble. Serious trouble. It's about the investment you made. Tyler felt his stomach drop. Peter had been his business partner, the one who had lured him into risky ventures that didn't pan out. What about him? He snapped. After everything, I owe him nothing. He's in debt, the voice rushed on, desperation rising. People are after him. They're saying it's all connected to you, your money, your reputation. If they get to him, you might get dragged into it, too. The truth washed over him like ice water, shocking and invigorating. Do you think I want to save him? He destroyed my trust. Maybe so, the voice replied, steadying itself. But think about the implications. This isn't just about him. They could ruin you, too. Tyler turned, facing Martha. Her eyes were wide as she absorbed the news, realizing how deep this rabbit hole went. "What do you mean?" he asked, wanting clarity amidst the swirling chaos. "The guys he owes. They don't mess around. And they believe you're still in on it," the voice explained. "You're a target now, too. But if you help him, if you can sort this out, maybe you can regain control of your life." Control. The word echoed like a mantra through his mind. Was helping Peter just a trap waiting to snap shut on him, or could it be the lifeline Tyler needed to reclaim himself? "Tyler," Martha interrupted, her voice soft but firm. "You have to decide if you want to be pulled back into that world. You have a choice to make." The ticking clock filled the silence, each sound a reminder that time was running out. Tyler felt the tremors in his heart when faced with the truth. "I don't know if I can go back there," he murmured. "But what if he is right? What if this is connected to me?" "Then we'll face it together," Martha replied, taking his hands in hers, grounding him in the moment. Deciding to confront Peter, Tyler took a step into uncertainty. The rain continued to patter against the window, echoing his conflicted thoughts. Could reaching out to his old friend be the danger or the salvation he needed? With a heavy heart, he whispered into the phone, "Okay, let us meet. Let us get this settled." But as he hung up, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were diving into unknown waters, with dark waves swirling all around. Could this decision lead him down a path of redemption, or would it only pull him deeper into the chaos he thought he had escaped? The moment the call ended, Tyler felt an icy chill travel through him. He glanced at Martha, who remained silent, her brow furrowed with concern. The weight of the conversation hung heavy in the air, making it hard to breathe. "What do we do now?" she finally asked, her voice breaking through his fog of confusion. Tyler stared out the rain-streaked window, watching drops race each other down the glass, much like the jumbled thoughts in his mind. "I have to meet him. I need to know what's really going on." "Are you sure that's a good idea?" Martha pressed. "He's the one who put you in this situation in the first place." He knew she had a point. Trust had shattered between them a long time ago. But now, the potential consequences loomed larger than their fractured friendship. "I can't let this affect my life anymore. I need to face it." They decided on a diner halfway between their places, neutral ground for a meeting that was anything but. The idea of sitting across from Peter twisted Tyler's stomach in knots. But anxiety was a part of him now, like an old friend he couldn't shake. As they drove through the rain-soaked streets, the world outside blurred into a haze. Memories of their time spent building a business together flooded back: cheap takeout dinners, brainstorming sessions that lasted all night, high-fives over small victories. But all of it had been tainted. Betrayal hung like a dark cloud, overshadowing everything. When they arrived at the diner, Tyler's heart pounded like a drum. The artificial glow of neon lights pulsed through the fog of his memories. With each step toward the entrance, he felt more weighed down by the burden of their past. Inside, the smell of frying bacon and coffee lingered in the air, contrasting sharply with the storm raging outside. Tyler spotted Peter sitting in a booth in the back, his face obscured by shadows. There was a heaviness in the room that felt almost tangible, and it made Tyler's skin crawl. "Are you ready?" Martha whispered, her hand resting on his arm. "No," Tyler admitted. But he took a deep breath and steeled himself, stepping toward Peter with every ounce of courage he could muster. "Tyler," Peter said, looking up with wide, nervous eyes. There was something in that gaze, a flicker of vulnerability that Tyler had never seen before. "Explain everything," Tyler demanded as he slid into the opposite seat. "Now. I know I've messed up," Peter began, his voice low and shaky. "But I'm not here to make excuses. You need to understand this is bigger than anything we've faced before." Tyler's chest tightened as he recalled the years of deception. "You mean the debts? The threats?" "Yes," Peter nodded, urgency in his tone. "But it's not just that. It goes deeper into people you don't want to be involved with." "What did you do?" Tyler's voice was barely above a whisper now, Disbelief crashing over him like waves against a rocky shore. Peter looked down, struggling with his own shame. I made mistakes, bad investments, sure. But I also got involved with some dangerous individuals. They don't care who gets hurt. They just want their money back and they think you're part of this. Tyler felt the heat of anger build in his chest. You think I want to be dragged into your mess? I wouldn't call it that if I were you, Peter warned, his voice lowering, eyes darting around as if someone might be listening. I'm serious, Tyler. They mean business. They're already watching you. Martha tensed beside him, and Tyler felt the flood of emotions rising, spinning out of control. You expect me to just believe you? After everything? I wouldn't have called you if it weren't serious, Peter insisted. You remember how it was, right? We were going to take over the world together. You think I wanted to end up like this? Fighting each other? Yes. And this could destroy you. You have to help me. Tyler stared at Peter, seeing beyond the man who had betrayed him to the fearful figure sitting before him. A man broken by his own choices. The chaos wrapped in their past felt like a tangled web, but now the stakes were much higher, confronting his old friend had opened a door he wasn't sure he wanted to walk through. Could he actually help him, knowing the risks and the fractures? Or was this another trap waiting to ensnare him further? As Tyler opened his mouth to respond, the diner door swung open, and the room fell silent. In walked two men, faces hidden under dark caps, intimidation pouring off them. And in that moment, Tyler realized just how real and close to danger they had become. What were Peter's words worth when danger was staring them in the face? The air in the diner thickened as the two men stepped inside. Their presence altered the atmosphere, turning the cozy eatery into a stage for something ominous. Customers shifted uncomfortably, some stole glances, while others returned to their plates, pretending not to notice. But Tyler couldn't look away. What do we do? Martha whispered urgently, gripping Tyler's arm. Her voice trembled, and for a moment, he saw her fear reflected in the depths of his own. Stay calm, he replied, trying to inject confidence into his words. But even to his own ears, it sounded shaky. He focused on Peter, who was now pale, beads of sweat forming on his brow. Peter, Tyler said, keeping his eyes on the newcomers. What have you dragged us into? I didn't want this, Peter stammered, retreating back into his seat, his bravado dissolving. The two men moved toward the booth with an air of menace, their expressions hidden beneath the shadows of their caps. One of them reached into his jacket, and Tyler instinctively leaned forward, his heart pounding like a jackhammer. It felt like the calm before a storm, each second dragging on, stretching the tension taut. You've got a debt, Peter, the man with a gruff voice said, leaning over the table. And it's time to pay up. Tyler couldn't help but feel protective as he glanced at Martha, who watched in horror. But there was a fire igniting in him too. What do you want with us? He asked, his voice firm in the face of fear. The man straightened, studying Tyler keenly. This isn't your concern, buddy. But if you want to stay out of it, he paused, letting the threat hang heavily in the air. It took everything in Tyler not to lose control. We're not scared of you. His voice was steadier than he felt, and he glanced at Martha, who gave him a slight nod of support. She's right, Peter finally managed to say, his voice gaining a hint of strength. Whatever's going on, it's between us. The man tilted his head, a slow, amused grin spreading across his face. You think you can cloak yourselves in bravery? That'll get you nowhere. He motioned toward the door with his chin. You two should leave. This is messy business. Tyler's mind raced. Could they really just walk out? There was a high chance these men would follow, and what would happen to Martha then? Let us handle this, Peter pleaded, a desperate edge creeping into his tone. I'll pay. I can find a way. Just give me time. Time. The other man scoffed. You already had time. You know the drill. Either pay now, or he leaned in closer, will make things uncomfortable. A knot twisted in Tyler's stomach. He felt the resolve he had built cracking, rendering him helpless. What exactly does that mean? Peter looked back at Tyler, desperation painted on his features. Just get out of here, man. I'll figure it out. No. Tyler blurted out, his voice echoing off the walls filled with muffled chatter. You're not leaving me in this mess. You can't face them alone. Martha reached for his hand, squeezing it tight. Tyler, think. This might get dangerous. At that moment, the tension broke like glass, and the man's expression hardened. Last chance, he said sharply, walk away while you still can. But before Tyler could regroup his thoughts, something in him shifted. He knew he had to fight, not just for himself, but for Peter who, despite his past betrayals, still needed to stand against the storm brewing on the horizon. Fine, Tyler said, heart racing, we'll deal with this together. Whatever you want, we'll figure it out as a team. He caught a glimpse of relief flood through Peter's features, but the two men only snickered, their eyes narrowing with malice. Well, looks like you picked the hard way. We'll see how long that determination lasts. The diner felt like it was closing in around them. Tyler knew he had crossed a line. As the men exchanged glances, Tyler could only wonder what sinister game had just begun. The stakes were higher than he'd ever imagined, and there was no turning back now. Just then, one of the men pulled out his phone, his eyes narrowing as he stared at the screen. This just got a lot more interesting, he said, a dark grin spreading across his face. What now? Tyler breathed, dread flooding through him. All he could think was how this fight had only just begun, and how possibly, it would take more than just courage to survive this ordeal. The phone buzzed again, the man's grin widening as he read something on the screen. Tyler's heart raced with uncertainty. What did you just find out? He demanded, anger bubbling beneath his skin. The man smirked, looking up with a gleam in his eye. You could say it's an unexpected twist, he replied with a tone that dripped with malice. Your buddy here isn't just in debt. He's got a bigger problem than he thought. He turned to Peter, who sat frozen, beads of sweat now flowing down his temples. Tell them about the money, Peter. Tyler looked at Peter, confusion knotting in his gut. What are they talking about? He shot a glance at Martha, whose face had turned a shade paler. She squeezed his hand tighter, her wide eyes filled with fear. This isn't good, she whispered, her voice almost cracking. Just tell us the truth, Peter. Tyler urged, desperation creeping into his tone. He needed an answer, as the tension in the diner strained against the backdrop of clinking cutlery and murmured conversations. Peter gulped, his shoulders trembling. I thought I could handle it. I borrowed money to invest, but it all crashed. And I didn't even let them know I had taken out loans against my parents' house. They found out. You are one hell of a gambler, huh, Peter? The man taunted. And here we thought you were just a scared little boy. He leaned in closer, his breath hot on Peter's face. Now you're in deep and there's no way out. But don't worry, we've got plans. And you'll help us collect. Tyler felt a mix of rage and protectiveness surge up. You think you can just come in here and shut it? The other man bellowed, staring Tyler down. All eyes in the diner turned their way, but no one dared intervene. The walls felt like they were closing in tighter, and Tyler's chest tightened with dread. Listen, the first man continued, his demeanor sharpening, we're willing to let you walk away. But Peter? He pointed a finger at him, a predatory grin plastered on his face. You're going to have to work for us. You'll help us get our money back, or we'll deal with you in a way you won't enjoy. The ultimatum hung heavy in the air like a noose, constricting around Tyler's throat. What if he doesn't? He knew the answer before the man even smirked. Then we'll make his life a living hell. And yours too, for sticking around. The threat laced through his voice like poison, and he began scrolling through his phone again. Martha turned pale beside him. This isn't just about money, is it? She breathed, horror creeping into her voice. Tyler shook his head, heart racing. This is bigger than we can handle. We can't let them do this to Peter. The fear was suffocating, twisting through him like a vice. He had thrown himself into the fire, and now they were all caught in the flames. Don't make any sudden moves, Tyler, Martha cautioned, her grip tightening around his arm. Just keep your cool, we can figure this out. But all Tyler could think about was the man's smirk and the threat behind it. Whatever it is, we won't let you start anything here. His voice was steadier than he felt, the will to protect his friends fueling him. The lead man turned, the smirk fading just slightly as he glanced around the diner. Oh, I think we're just getting started. Keep your little courage act up, Tyler. We'll see how long that lasts. As the two men moved away, Tyler felt the world shift beneath him. What had he just stepped into? Questions buzzed in his mind like angry bees, and he knew they were in over their heads. He had seen the darkness that came from desperation. But little did he know, the battle for their lives had only just begun. Peter's voice was a whisper, dripping with guilt and fear. I never wanted this. I need your help. Tyler met his gaze, a resolution building within him. We're in this together, Peter. But we need a plan. We need to figure out how to turn the tables on them. Hope darted through the darkness, but as they settled into a silence thick with unspoken fears, Tyler's mind raced with uncertainty. Could he really pull Peter from the edge before it was too late? And amidst the tension, one haunting thought echoed in the back of his mind: what lengths would these men go to reclaim what was theirs, and at what cost? The air was charged, a prickling tension that made it hard for Tyler to breathe. He could feel Martha's palm clammy against his, a shared anxiety coursing through both of them. Peter, sitting across from them, looked like he had aged years in just a few moments. The conviction in Tyler's heart battled against a growing sense of dread that loomed over them. Peter, Tyler said, his voice low but firm, we're not letting them push you into anything. We can figure this out. Peter shook his head, desperation contorting his features. You don't understand, Tyler. These guys, they've already got their hooks in me. If I refuse to help, they'll come after my family. They won't hesitate. Martha frowned, her eyes darting around the diner filled with oblivious patrons. What's the plan? Do we go to the police? They'll just laugh us out the door, Peter snapped, his voice edged with panic. This is bigger than us. I messed up, and now it feels like I'm stuck in a hole I can't climb out of. The diner felt as if it had shrunk down around them, the clamor fading into muffled echoes. Tyler leaned closer, closing the space between them. What's the worst they can do? I mean, what exactly do they want from you? Peter's eyes widened. They want me to help them recover their money from other gamblers who owe them. People who can't pay up. They want me to coerce them or worse. Tyler's stomach twisted, the thought of Peter harboring those dark intentions gnawing at him. Coerce? You can't do this, you're not that person, Peter. We have to come up with something else. Martha squeezed Tyler's hand tighter. Maybe we can find a way to gather evidence against them. We could turn the tables, right? Peter's gaze fell, and for a brief moment, Tyler wished he could erase the weight of shame that hung around him. I'm not ready to play hero, guys, Peter muttered. I've already messed up so badly. Tyler felt a flicker of anger. You're acting like there's no way out. If you dig deep enough, maybe you'll find a way to beat this. I believe in you. Just then, the door to the diner swung open, breaking their heavy conversation. A young couple walked in, caught in the romantic glow of a sweet date. Laughter pulled Tyler's attention, and he felt a pang of longing for happier moments. Look, when we walk out of here, we need to be strong. We can't let them think we're weak. Easier said than done, Peter shot back, but the hint of determination was there, a spark kindled amidst his fear. What if we meet them on our terms? Martha suggested. Do we know where they'll be? Maybe we can confront them together, make them back down. That's reckless. Peter protested, but Tyler could see something shifting in Peter's eyes, maybe hope. They're dangerous, you have no idea. No, Tyler said, his voice steady as he locked eyes with Peter. I don't know. But I do know we can't let fear dictate our next steps. If they think we'll back down or fall apart, they're just going to tighten the noose. Pausing, Peter looked out the window. You're right, but if we confront them, I'll need to be ready. They'll expect me to fall in line. The flicker of defiance ignited in Tyler's chest. Let's turn that expectation against them. We have to act. But we do it smart. We'll gather information first, find out who's backing them. I can take some risks. Martha nodded, her face showing sheer resolve. We could divide and gather intel. I can start talking to people. You two can focus on the men who threatened Peter. Together, we'll piece it together. Peter's brows knitted in thought. If we get some of their contacts on record, then we turn them in, Tyler finished, urgency fueling his words. For the first time, a flicker of determination crossed Peter's face. Yeah, we can do this. Just as they shared a moment of grim unity, the first man from earlier re-entered the diner, his shadow slow and looming. The smirk had returned, and he was looking right at their table. Miss us? He said, leaning against the counter as he scanned their faces, a sinister glimmer in his eyes. Tyler's heart pounded. He could feel the targeted attention, and suddenly the stakes became painfully clear. We won't back down, he whispered. The man laughed, a chilling sound that ricocheted in Tyler's bones. Oh, I think you will. But trust me, this is only the beginning. With a knot tightening in his throat, Tyler faced the grim reality ahead. They needed to act quickly before true danger loomed on the horizon. How much worse could it get? And were they prepared for what lay ahead? The man's laughter echoed ominously in Tyler's ears as he leaned back into the booth, the chill lingering like a dark cloud. He could see Martha's fingers nervously twisting the napkin in her lap, her eyes darting around for any sign of support. Peter's posture was tense, shoulders hunched, as if he was bracing for a hit. Care to tell us what that means? Tyler's voice came out bolder than he felt, pushing against the knot in his throat. The man slouched comfortably, practically daring them to challenge him. Oh, it's simple, the man said casually, his smirk betraying a sense of entitlement that made Tyler's skin crawl. You see, I know you're all gung-ho about changing Peter's fate. But let's be real here. The moment you step into my territory, you'll find it's more dangerous than you can imagine. Peter clenched his jaw, the fire in his eyes flickering just under the surface. I'm not scared of you, he said, but his voice wavered, calling into question the strength of his own determination. Scared? Not yet, maybe, the man replied, straightening slightly. But you will be. You know how easy it is to break someone when you have everything they love right in your grasp. Tyler's heart sank at the words. Thoughts of Peter's family, their faces, their laughter, the way they lit up his life stormed his mind. This was worse than any threat he'd anticipated. This was personal. Martha shot Tyler a panicked glance, her voice barely above a whisper. What do we do now? The man shrugged, feigning nonchalance as he leaned back against the counter. You're the ones who wanted to fight back. But trust me, not everyone in your little operation is going to have your back. What does that mean? Tyler pressed, but the man just laughed again, his eyes glinting like he was savoring a twisted joke. Like I said, it's just the beginning. You think turning Peter into your personal hero will intimidate me? I've seen his kind before. They all break eventually. Peter's gaze hardened at the challenge, and with a shaky breath, he stood up. Maybe I'm willing to break if it means something. Maybe I'm tired of being a pawn in your game. Tyler felt a surge of pride for his friend. There was strength in Peter's response, a whisper of resilience. But they needed more than bravado. Movement caught his eye as the man's face twisted into a sinister smile. Let us see how long that fire lasts. I'd hate for something to happen to your family before you get the chance to be a hero. Stop it. Martha shouted, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. It shocked everyone into silence. But the man merely shrugged, unfazed. Just food for thought. You want to start digging, look in the shadows. Find out who's really pulling the strings. And if you're smart, you'll make sure they don't find you first. He turned sharply and exited with the same casual demeanor, leaving Tyler, Peter, and Martha in a haze of uncertainty. For a moment, they were stranded amidst the din of the diner, words hanging unspoken, the horror of their situation settling heavy on their shoulders. What are we going to do? Peter broke the silence, his eyes darting around, as if searching for answers in the chaos. We gather our strength, Tyler said, a firm resolution building inside him. We start tonight. Tonight? Martha echoed, her brows knitting together. We can't just rush in blind. They'll be expecting it. Tyler shook his head, fear transforming into purpose. We need to lure them out. We play their game, right back at them. But this time, we do it our way. Peter's expression softened, that flicker of hope returning as it turned into determination. All right. Let us do this. For my family. For all our families. No more running. Martha nodded, the weight of their alliance settling in place. Let us figure out how to gather intel. We can't back down now. As they laid out a plan, the gravity of their decisions eclipsed by the desperate need to act, Tyler couldn't shake the feeling that they were stepping into a web spun with danger and deceit. What other traps lay hidden in the shadows? And would they find the courage to face whatever haunted them? Tyler leaned over the table, his heart racing as he scribbled down ideas for their next move. The clatter of dishes and the murmur of the diner faded into the background. He could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on them like the thick humidity before a storm. We have to be smart about this, he said, glancing at Martha and Peter. We can't go in guns blazing. They'll have eyes everywhere. What do you mean? Martha replied, crossing her arms. We can't just sit here either. He's made it clear they won't hesitate to hurt people we love. Peter rubbed the back of his neck. What if we started small? Get a grip on their operations. We need someone on the inside. Exactly. And that's the tricky part, Tyler added. If we can find someone who knows what's happening, maybe we can expose their weaknesses before they even know we're coming. Martha nodded slowly, her worry morphing into clarity. There's always talk around town. Someone must know the players behind this game. Her brows furrowed. But do we really trust anyone? What if they're working against us? Peter's eyes lit up. What about that bar up on 5th? The one that caters to the wrong crowd. You know they've got information slipping through there. Tyler remembered the place. It was run by a former boxer turned bartender, a man who seemed to know everyone's business. They could start there. All right, Tyler said, adrenaline surging through him. Martha, you and I can scout it out. Peter, you keep an eye on anything that comes up at home. We need to know when those family ties become a real threat. The abrupt seriousness in the air pushed them all into gear. They finished their coffee, now lukewarm and forgotten, and stepped into the evening air, their minds racing faster than their feet. Just promise we'll be careful, Martha said, wrapping her arms around herself as they walked. This isn't a game. I can't lose anyone. Not after. She trailed off, biting her lip. Tyler stopped, turning to her, unable to ignore the broken note in her voice. I know. We won't let anything happen. We're stronger together. For a moment, she met his gaze, the connection sparking a glimmer of hope. Meet back here in an hour? Peter suggested, his voice firm. In case things go wrong. They agreed and split up, the streets dimly lit by streetlights flickering against the encroaching darkness. Tyler felt the anticipation building inside him as he approached the bar. It loomed in front, a shadow pulse rising from within. He took a deep breath, pushing his way through the door. The atmosphere hit him like a wave, music thumping against the walls, laughter mixed with shouts. It felt raw, edgy, the kind of place that housed secrets. He scanned the room, searching for the bartender. Suddenly, his eyes landed on a familiar face, John, the boxer, pouring drinks behind the bar with an easy confidence. "Tyler. Didn't he expect to see you here?" John called out, his grin wide. Tyler forced a smile. "Yeah, just checking in." As they talked, Tyler kept his guard up. He knew the stakes. He had to tread carefully. Underneath the friendly banter, he was digging for information, hoping John would slip a clue about the man who threatened their lives. But John leaned in, lowering his voice. "You hear about that guy messing with the families around here? Tread lightly, my friend. There's a whole darker side to this town you don't want to cross." Tyler's breath caught in his throat. Was the warning for them? Or was it just a general caution? "Thanks, John. I'll keep that in mind." He headed toward the exit, senses heightened. Back on the street, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Each shadow felt like a lurking enemy, each sound amplified by rising tension. Was it paranoia or intuition? The question rang in his mind as he rushed back to the diner, realizing they needed information fast. They had provoked something dangerous. What if their search had attracted unwanted attention? As he stepped back inside, he could feel the atmosphere shift, a prickling electricity in the air. What if danger had tracked their every move since they'd taken action? And would they still hold their ground when faced with the consequences? The diner felt different as Tyler stepped through the door, the underlying tension thicker than before. Martha sat in their usual booth, fingers tapping nervously on the table, while Peter loitered by the restroom, eyeing the ceiling in a feigned nonchalance. "Did you find anything?" Martha asked, eyes wide with hope. Tyler shook his head, the dread pooling in his stomach. "Just a warning about the darkness lurking in this town." He glanced around, feeling as though eyes were on him. "We need to be extra careful." Martha nodded, frowning. The three of them came together, a tight circle of resolve. "What now?" she asked, her voice steady despite the tremors of uncertainty. "Let us regroup, figure our next steps," Tyler urged, determination igniting a flicker of courage within him. "If we know who's pulling the strings, we can plan accordingly. John mentioned someone messing with families, it might lead us somewhere." Peter grimaced, guilt shadowing his features. "I thought I was done dragging you guys into this mess." "You're not alone anymore," Martha insisted, squeezing his hand for support. "We do this as a team. But first, we need to gather more intel before we confront anyone. It's time to get serious." Their spirits lifted. For the first time in days, an ember of hope felt tangible. As the rain pelted against the windows, they launched into their plan, planning to split their efforts more effectively this time. Tyler would retrace his steps, talk to John again and see if he had deeper connections to explore. Meanwhile, Martha would check in with the local network of her friends, gathering whispers from anyone who might know. And Peter? He would stick close to home, monitoring any emerging threats, keeping his family safe while he uncovered what he could. With renewed purpose, they scattered into the night, an unwavering sense of unity guiding them. As Tyler held the door open for Martha, he caught a glimpse of desperation etched on her face. "Be careful, both of you," she said, worry creeping into her tone. "Always," Tyler replied, forcing a smile that masked the fear pulsating beneath. They shared a moment, a connection solidifying their bond. Outside, the night was oppressive, cloaked in fog and shadow. Tyler's footsteps echoed as he ventured back to the bar. He couldn't shake the sense of someone watching him. Every rustle, every whispered conversation seemed amplified. But with determination building, He crept through the bar's heavy door, the atmosphere inside buzzed with energy, but Tyler fixed his attention on John, spotting him behind the bar. Their eyes met, and Tyler could almost feel the weight of expectations lurking beneath the casual chatter. "John," he called, pulling him aside. "I need to know more about what's going on around here. People, money, anything you can tell me." A flicker of wariness crossed John's face. "You sure you want to dive deeper? It's not for the faint of heart, there's real danger out there." "Tell me what you know," Tyler insisted, voice steady. He needed to breach this wall of secrecy. People's lives rested on their ability to act decisively. A moment passed, and John weighed his options. There's a group that's been moving in, they're ruthless. Seen a few names tossed around, people linked to the gambling scene, shady investments. He lowered his voice. They won't hesitate to intimidate or worse, orchestrate a plan to control those in debt. Tyler's pulse quickened. "What can we do?" "They need to think they're in control," John replied, a knowing look in his eyes. "But don't confront them head-on. Look for allies first. This fight is bigger than just you or Peter." That made Tyler think. He needed strength in numbers, information, contacts, anything that might tip the scales in their favor. With newfound urgency, Tyler thanked John and headed back. He felt the collective weight settle on his shoulders as he pushed through the diner's door again. The warmth washed over him, offering a brief refuge from the storm outside. Martha and Peter were already in discussion when he returned. "You're back," she exclaimed, relief washing over her. "Did you figure anything out?" Tyler nodded, gesturing them closer. "John mentioned a group that's conducting business in shadows, people that have influence over our situation. If we build the right connections, we can turn this around." "Turn it around how?" Peter pressed, his eyes focused. "By making them think we have a plan that holds weight," he replied. "We need a network, a way to gather information from those they might overlook. Friends of friends, anyone they don't suspect." Martha's face lit up with determination. "We need to move fast. Before they get wind of what we're doing. Are you ready for it?" "I am, and I'm in this with both of you," Tyler reaffirmed, building their mutual resolve. Just then, the door swung open with a gust of wind, causing the bell to jingle ominously. The atmosphere shifted, and suddenly, unease crackled through the diner. The men from earlier sauntered in, and the din of conversation around them faded into an eerie silence. Tyler's breath caught, panic coursing through him. "Oh no, not now," he muttered, panic clawing at his insides. Martha stiffened, fear seeping into the air between them. "What do they want?" The dark energies swirling around them ignited as the men's gazes fixed on Tyler, narrowing in on their target. "Looks like the party's begun," one of them said, a smirk plastered across his face. Tyler felt the tightening grip of dread. This was at the moment they had been preparing for, but he felt anything but ready. "We won't be pushed around," he said, steeling himself, taking Martha's hand tightly as the threat loomed closer. Tyler could feel the electricity in the room, a surge of bravery rising as he prepared to confront whatever came their way. The stakes had never been clearer, and they could no longer shy away from the battle that lay ahead. Could they unite against a force designed to fracture them? Or would the weight of the past drag them down into darkness, before they found the light? This was the moment they had chosen, and together, they would face it head-on. "Let us finish this," Tyler whispered softly, determination radiating from his eyes. As the confrontation loomed, they knew that the tide would either turn them into allies or enemies in the face of chaos. And every decision mattered more than ever now. More than ever, it was clear, they had to fight like there was no tomorrow. So it was time to act. As hope flickered against the night, the time to come together had arrived, and they were ready to take back everything they held dear. With hearts pounding, they prepared to reclaim their lives under the shadows, under the promise of unwavering loyalty and the strength of their bonds. They were a family woven through trials, and they would face this threat united. The time for fear was over, the time for justice had come. The fight for their future had just begun. Wait. If you want to follow this incredible journey, you need to subscribe now. Hit that button to join us for the next thrilling installment. Leave a like now to support the channel and fuel the story. Your thumbs up means everything. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this intense ending. We want to hear from you. And don't forget to share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Only true fans like you understand the importance of this support.